Just because a player may be exceptionally good does not guarantee them a Super Bowl ring.
Come on, just let me win one Super Bowl.
I'm sorry. I must respectfully decline.
You did it for Namath?
Yeah, but Joe was coming here anyways.
This sucks.
Even the most talented players need a whole lot of help if they want to secure a win in the Super Bowl. So today, we rank the 15 best NFL players to never win a Super Bowl. Number 15, Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly is probably one of the first names that comes to mind for most people when they think about talented NFL players who were not able to get over the hump and win a championship. Now, Kelly, to his credit, did manage to lead the Buffalo Bills to 4 straight Super Bowl appearances in the early 90s. But in what can only be described as tragic fashion, he was unable to secure a win in any of those games. For whatever reason, it just seemed like the leadership ability and high-flying passing skills that he possessed and put on display throughout the regular season would suddenly vanish come playoff time. Number 14, Steve Largent. Steve Largent spent his entire NFL career in the Pacific Northwest playing for the Seattle Seahawks. But yeah, these were not Pete Carroll's Seahawks. Largent played on some, well, pretty bad teams over the years. In fact, he not only didn't win a Super Bowl, but his teams never even really made a deep playoff run. Which, if you ask me, is a big reason as to why Largent has faded slightly out of the national consciousness despite retiring as the NFL's all-time leader in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdown catches. Critics tend to not take a player too seriously if their statistical contribution doesn't correlate into any W's. Number 13, Tony Gonzalez. Before Tony Gonzalez became one of the most recognizable figures in NFL media, he was better known for the way that he revolutionized the tight end position. Gonzalez played for 2 teams during his illustrious career, the Kansas City Chiefs and Atlanta Falcons, and was regularly one of the most consistent pass catchers in the game. During his career, Tony amassed 1,325 receptions, second in NFL history at the time of his retirement, 15,127 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He was a 14-time Pro Bowler and 16 first-team All-Pro selection. Gonzalez's individual accolades seemingly knew no bounds, unfortunately, as his personal success didn't exactly translate to postseason success. His only deep playoff run came with the Falcons in the 2012 season, which ended in a narrow NFC Championship game loss. Number 12, Eric Dickerson. Eric Dickerson garnered quite a reputation during his playing days for his rec specs and dynamic running abilities. The Hall of Fame running back set the record for most rushing yards in a season with 2,105 yards, a mark that still stands to this very day. The 5-time All-Pro was fast, explosive, and had elite vision. Honestly, there's very little that he couldn't do on the gridiron. That is, with the exception of actually winning a Super Bowl, of course. After all, neither the Los Angeles Rams nor Indianapolis Colts even made it to the Super Bowl when Dickerson was on the squad. Number 11, Allan Page. Allan Page will always be regarded as one of the most decorated defensive players in NFL history, all due to the role that he played on the Minnesota Vikings' Purple People Eaters defense. His combination of intelligence, athleticism, and competitiveness made him an absolute force on the field and the first defensive player to ever take home league MVP honors. Unfortunately, the Vikings just couldn't ever get over the hump. And despite making it to 4 Super Bowls in the 70s, never were able to actually take home the trophy. Number 10, Junior Seau. Junior Seau was best known during his playing days for his relentless energy and impressive instincts that he put on display during his 20-year career in the NFL. All that fiery energy on the field made him one of the most memorable linebackers that the game had ever seen. Seau played most of his career out in San Diego for the Chargers, earning him 12 Pro Bowl selections and 6 first-team All-Pro nods in the process. But he was never able to get to the top. Perhaps even more heartbreaking than his losses with the Chargers was his coming up short during the twilight of his career with the New England Patriots, who he had joined with for the sole intent of winning a ring finally. Number 9, Andre Reed. As important as Jim Kelly was to the 90s Bills, there is a legitimate case that Andre Reed was even more vital to the team's success. During his illustrious career, consistency was a hallmark for Reed, who racked up career totals of 951 career receptions and over 13,000 yards. But unfortunately, he just was never able to get it done during the league's biggest game, as his Bills famously lost 4 straight Super Bowls. Number 8, Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus is synonymous with the Chicago Bears and is often regarded as one of the most intimidating linebackers to ever play in the NFL, all thanks to his hard-hitting style of play. Butkus played with a ferocity that absolutely instilled fear into the hearts of his opponents. But sadly, the 8-time Pro Bowl selection's career was largely incomplete as he was just never able to win a Super Bowl. Number 7. Fran Tarkington. Fran Tarkington was one of the most exciting quarterbacks of his generation. He possessed a mobility that was so extremely rare at the time that he actually helped to reinvent the quarterback position as we know it today. His Minnesota Vikings were one of the better teams of that era, as they actually made it to 4 Super Bowls. Unfortunately, they failed to win any of them, leaving Fran Tarkington as an absolute legend who just never was able to win it all. Number 6. Deacon Jones. Deacon Jones deserves a slight pass on this one because, well, part of his career actually did span back to the pre-Super Bowl days. But still, it is kinda crazy that the Los Angeles Rams defensive end just was never able to win one. Listen, this man was so dominant that he was literally credited for inventing the quarterback sack. You would think that a player of that caliber would have at least won 1 Super Bowl. Number 5. LaDainian Tomlinson. There have been very few football players who were as single-handedly dominant as LT. Not only was he uber talented at running back, but he was also versatile as he could catch passes, block, and heck, even throw the ball fairly well. The 2006 NFL MVP, however, just fell victim to a career played primarily for the Chargers. And if you know anything about the Chargers, well, success isn't exactly synonymous with them. And so, unfortunately, LaDainian Tomlinson just was never able to win a ring. Hey, props for his loyalty. However, maybe he would have been a little better off if he had played somewhere else. Number 4. Randy Moss. The fact that Randy Moss, one of the most explosive wide receivers in NFL history, who also happened to play in 2 Super Bowls, never actually won a Super Bowl is insane. It is just so ridiculous that it sort of borders on the potential, cursed territory. The Super Bowl loss at the end of his career with the Niners is one thing, but he was also on the 18-1 Patriots, which, come on, they never should have lost to that Giants team. Number 3. Bruce Smith. While Jim Kelly and Andre Reed led the way on offense, Bruce Smith was the face of the 90s Bills defense. The dominant defensive end spent most of his career with the Buffalo Bills, setting the all-time sacks record and regularly finishing among the top in the league. Smith, along with the rest of that Buffalo crew, were never able to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. Number 2. Barry Sanders. During his relatively short but impactful NFL career, Barry Sanders, the Detroit Lions running back, dazzled the NFL with his elusive running style. In 10 seasons, he accumulated over 15,000 rushing yards and was widely considered among the top players in the league regardless of position. The 1997 NFL MVP, however, was just never able to see his team to success. And man, did he work hard. It is actually absurd that he finished his career without ever winning the Super Bowl. But hey, that's what happens when you saddle yourself to a mediocre team. Number 1. Dan Marino. Dan Marino was the modern quarterback long before the archetype ever existed. The Miami Dolphins quarterback could move in the pocket and sling it with the best of them. Come on, he put up absolutely gaudy numbers over the years thanks to his skill set. The Dolphins, however, just struggled to put the right pieces around him consistently, and, well, they regularly came up short because of it. But what other amazing superstar players never won a Super Bowl? Was there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.